We spent the last 5 weeks focused on 4 priorities. One was to get water back into the creeks. The second was to remove all the debris, which means all the trees that slammed into the buildings, get all the debris, mud and muck out of the buildings themselves. We needed to repair the water line, and then we also needed to restore the power. So we needed to get the power poles back up to the assembly. So that's kind of how we spent the first 5 weeks. The first phase really was around saving Blue Ridge, right? So it was around stabilizing us just so that we could further assess all of the damages and then be able to work on infrastructure and restoration. If we didn't do that work right then, right now, and make those calls, that the erosion and the devastation to Blue Ridge Center could have been a lot worse than it is today, right? And so I think that part of this was really looking at it and saying, okay, we have to move quickly if we're going to be able to save Blue Ridge in the long run. We've got to get the debris off of the back of Eureka Hall before it gets worse, right? It's just having that move through and that amount of weight on the building was not good at all. And so I think that's important. It's a great question around the stabilization and, oh, insurance is just going to cover that, right? And we've been in communication with the insurance company, and I would tell you that their first response back to us has been disappointing. This first phase in what I've referenced before about stabilizing Blue Ridge, our estimate is pretty close to $5 million is what we think that's going to cost us. And so that was first on-site disaster recovery coming in, focusing on those first 4 buildings. That was the T&K utilities coming in, removing all the debris, putting all the water back right into the creeks, repairing the water line, and then the power company coming up here. And so our best guess is probably close to $5 million. How did we pay for phase 1 of stabilization? We have not paid for phase 1 of stabilization. The first priority, really the first, not really the priority, really the first thought was, oh my gosh, we have a lot of work that we need to do very quickly if we're even going to save Blue Ridge. And so it wasn't necessarily about how much is this gonna cost and how are we gonna pay for it. The thought was, who are our partners? Who do we know at which companies that we can call today, which was Saturday, that we can call on Saturday, we can follow up with on Sunday, and ask them, can you come help us? We are desperate, we need help. It wasn't, how are we gonna pay for it? And I would tell you today that we're still figuring out how we're gonna pay for it.
This is gonna be a long haul. And so having people support us for the long haul it's gonna be immeasurable. We need that because it's gonna be something that started 5 weeks ago and might be 5 years from now. But I think along the way, there's gonna be things that happen that will really make a difference and keep people involved. And I think they've gotta tune in and they've gotta see where we are, because we're gonna keep telling our story. We're not gonna stop, because this place is too important not to support and not to have happen. The place is magical, it's special. It is, as Melissa continues to push, it's the people, it's the place, and it's the programs. And I see that, I'm seeing it on a daily basis. And I think what I've really learned is it doesn't matter if someone's on the mountain for a day or if they've been coming for years, we've made an impact. They'll write notes that say, I know it's not very much and I know it's not making a big difference. And I can tell you, every gift is making a difference, because we have a lot of money to raise. We paid for something that we didn't have the money to pay for because we didn't want to lose the place. So right now, every gift is instrumental to us at whatever level.
When we're asking people to support us and to give to what the project is, whether it's the stabilization, the infrastructure, or restoration, to me, it's not tied to that one piece. I'm gonna tie it back to the power of place, people, and programs. And those 3 are so connected. You can't so much fall in love with the vehicle. that you lose sight of what that impact and purpose is of the work that we do. So that social impact that happens at YMCA Blue Ridge Assembly, right? That opportunity for people to gather, for young people to have hope, to learn about who they are as a person. I saw a comment the other day and it just spoke to me as someone said, I learned who I was and I learned who I wasn't. And that's powerful. And that's what people are giving towards, is that lesson right there.